What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining me on D's Analysis. We're going to be looking at MSTR today and Bitcoin. So today was another flat day, little to no volume. We had a little bit more volume than the last trading day. The last trading day we had 6 million, and today we had 9 million. But either way, those are still both very low numbers. Our average volume is 12.5 million right now, and that 12.5 is honestly pretty low for MSTR as a whole. But we are looking good, and we're just compressing. There's really nothing more to it. You just start to wonder if this is just a larger move of this move over here, where we had one run up sideways, second run up sideways, and then a third run up. And then we had our first run up sideways, second run up sideways, potentially the third run up, and then the end of the move, potentially. Who knows? But it is starting to kind of look like that. We are starting to see a bull flag actually form now that we've kind of just been trending sideways for an extended period. If you're to draw that out, you can see it from here. We have a bull flag within our bull flag, because this is one major bull flag with a larger measured target from here to here. And if we were to measure that from the bottom, that takes us, somewhere up there at the top of this channel. Of course, that's the ideal scenario. It doesn't have to play out. But on a smaller time frame, you can see that we have another bull flag starting to form, or it's already formed, honestly. And if we were to take this from the bottom, that puts us somewhere in the midline of this channel, sitting around 650, maybe just low 600s. Maybe that's our next point that we run up to, and then we get sideways consolidation. But of course, with MSTR, if Bitcoin continuously rallies, that thing will blow right through that level and continue to the top of the channel. You just need some momentum. Honestly, the day started off pretty well for MSTR, but then Bitcoin started to take a little dump. We started the day off down a little bit, but we started pushing back up pretty nice, and then we got a close inside of this golden zone here on the 1 hour, you can see, and then we retraced all of that and ended up closing further down than we were. We were all the way up at 390, and it reversed almost instantly. But we'll get into that on Bitcoin in a little bit. But you can see everything that was gained was given right back with a red engulfing candle. We made our way inside of this golden zone, and we pushed right back outside of it, and that takes us back to what we've been speaking of for, I swear it's been like a month at this point. This golden zone has been giving us way more trouble than I anticipated. I knew it was going to give us trouble, but not this much trouble. This golden zone to the downside, we were saying as we push back up, we're going to meet some resistance, and we definitely have been. It's been nothing but resistance at this point. We hardly have been spending any time inside of it. We're just wicking right off of it consistently. You can see that on the daily. Every time we try getting inside of it, we get 2 red candles right after we make a push inside. But eventually we will break through it. It's not going to hold as resistance forever. And with this compression that's happening, it's either going to compress and have an explosive move to the upside or to the downside. That's how compression works. It's really the same thing time and time again with technical analysis. It's either going to chop, break through to the downside and further down. I don't think that's the likely scenario, but it is possible. Or it's going to chop, break through, retest, and then we can continue moving up higher. But overall, we're still in a good spot. We're still holding above our level of support and resistance here. We're still creating higher highs and higher lows on a smaller time frame, you can see. So that's still a good thing. But then at the same time, you could also say on a small time frame that this is a bear flag being formed for another leg down here, and then this is the flag being formed, and then your measured target from there would be right to the bottom of this channel, the great trend line right there. So hopefully that doesn't play out. but that's what this mini flag would be. You have a flag with a flag inside of it, inside of this large flag. So a bunch of bull flags and bear flags going on different time frames, but you don't have to focus on it too much. Just understand that this could be the time to accumulate as much as you can before things take off. At the end of the day, we really have just been trending sideways inside of this range. We deviated for an extended period, and now we're just really back where we were all the way back in November 2024, just trending sideways with no volume. But once the volume kicks up, this thing is going to start ripping. So I do think we will see higher prices. How high, I'm not sure, but I wouldn't doubt that we see 600 before we slow down, and then maybe anywhere from 800 to 1100, at least in this leg, before some kind of major cool off, how we've seen here and how we've seen here. We are nearing our 20-week SMA, but hopefully we don't touch it. If we do get that bear flag to play out, we will more than likely make contact with it, and I would imagine that we'd get a strong bounce off of it because it's a key level of support for price. And on the daily, we slipped underneath our 20, and now it looks like we could potentially be getting our bounce off of a 50 once we reach there, or we can continue to just ride this mini trend line that we have established. So it seems like we're respecting it so far, but we'll see where things take us in overnight trading and throughout tomorrow. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe if you guys enjoy content like this. It helps with the algorithm and it helps push this video out to more people. And on the 4 hour, we got resistance off of our 50 moving average, which was coinciding with this major golden zone. So that was a lot of resistance above our head, and that could be part of the reason why we've fallen down a little bit. And when you take a look at the Bollinger Bands, we're kind of just somewhere in the middle here on the weekly Bollinger Bands. On the daily, we got rejection off of our blue Bollinger Band, the middle band, on the daily. So price could potentially be trying to make it to the green band, but we have a decent amount of support, so we might not make it there. And here on the 4 hour, we have fallen back underneath our mid band as well. But like I said, on the bright side, global liquidity is still on the rise. I don't think there's too much to worry about. It's just a matter of time. We just have to be patient, dollar cost average in, try not to time the market, and you should be okay. Not financial advice, of course. And this should continue to pump up higher as the dollar continues to fall. And the dollar's been looking very bearish. We'll go over that in a little bit as well. The RSI on the monthly is hugging this yellow moving average, starting to move up above it. It tapped it and pushing up now. We need to get back into this overbought territory. Like I said, once you hit that 90 mark, at least on Bitcoin, we're not really going to be looking on this one as much. Like, we'll look at it, but we're going to be focused on the Bitcoin one. The RSI at 90 on Bitcoin will be a flashing red indicator that it's time to get out. But here we want to get it to the overbought territory. Hopefully we can see, above 80 to get a nice extended move like we saw here. And here on the weekly, we're still looking good. Like we spoke about, higher highs, higher lows, building momentum. Daily, we're starting to lose a little bit of steam, but we're still holding the trend line at the moment. Hopefully we don't lose it. On the 4 hour, we did lose it, but we also didn't lose our trend line yet. Actually, we're kind of, you could probably say that it closed on it or slightly under. So this one's kind of a little concerning for now, at least on a short time frame. And on the 1 hour, we have fallen down a little bit, and we've actually fallen underneath our trend line. So I would expect to get some kind of push up temporarily, retest, and potentially falling down further until things completely flip back around for the RSI in general for price. On the 4 hour MACD, we're still creating higher highs, higher lows. Volume still dwindling down though. It looks like we could potentially be getting a red flip. Hopefully not. We just get the bounce off the orange moving average and push up higher. And here on the 1 hour, we're starting to get into bearish territory at the moment. But overall, this is still a major bull flag, or it could be a double top. It could be either one, but I feel like it's in a more bearish play, in my opinion. The charts just look more bearish. Oh, sorry. the charts look more bullish than bearish, so I would imagine that this is a bull flag and not as much of a double top. But I think if we do lose this level right here at negative 1.12, then it's more than likely going to be a double top, at least temporarily. Onto Bitcoin, you can see we pushed up and we met this level of resistance that we had drawn out, and it treated price not too nice right now, pushed it right back down very quick. But we're kind of stuck in between resistance and support on both sides. We have strong compression just up top. We have a lot of resistance and we have a lot of support underneath price. So it's the same thing that's been going on with MSTR, just nothing but compression. We will make a move soon, I would imagine. But these have been some large moves, at least you can see. Hasn't been too much like sideways within the day. It's a large move within the day, and then the following days will be large moves. So overall, price isn't moving too much, but it is at the same time. It's compressed. It's not really changing in value too much, but you're having large swings in between the days, you know, from 105 to 109 or 110 back to 105, but then you end up in the same spot. We were talking about, in the last video, we were talking about how if we were to break underneath this wick and get a close, so we broke underneath it, but we didn't close initially, so we still had a chance. And then once we close underneath this wick, I was saying that it's going to be an increased likelihood that we make it to this zone here at 106.3 to 105.9, which we got to bounce off of. And I also said for this zone as well at 105.5 to about 105.2. We might not make it to this zone because this is acting as support, but anything can happen and this thing can fall right through. We'll see where we get a close here on the daily. We get a close in about 2 hours and 48 minutes, but we do have some support underneath price. But if we were to fall underneath this level, we could continue down to about 104. And if we lose this level here, then we could see, you know, about 102 or so, maybe even lower down to 101. But ideally, we want to look at the big picture. We want to stay at least within this range. That's where we want to stay, because this is just one big range and this is one large bull flag. So that's why you have to zoom out. If you look here, this is a nice flagpole established and we're just trending sideways. And for instance, if this was the bottom, hypothetically, and we were to measure that out, that takes us to about 150,000. So let's see where this next move takes us. You always want to see price action like this anyways. You want to build a solid foundation. It looks like we've built a pretty solid foundation here at about 103 to about 101 or 100. Yeah, 101, 101K. So it's looking good. Just chopping sideways. We're not really going anywhere, but we're also starting to see a little bit of volume to the upside, back to the downside. So this is nice to see. We want to see the swings. The volatility is why we're in Bitcoin and MSTR to begin with. So you want to see some large moves. Even if price is trending sideways and not going anywhere, we want to see the large volatility while price isn't going anywhere. But this is kind of what we're keeping our eye on right now. So if we get a close underneath this level or this level, increases the likelihood of making it down to this 102 level or roughly 103. But this is going to be a key level of support though. We definitely don't want to lose that one. If we lose that level and we get a close underneath this, somewhere within these wicks, it's really going to increase the likelihood of us falling much further. And now we open up the idea of falling back into the 90s, maybe mid to low 90s. Hopefully not, but it's still a possibility. On the SMAs, we are trying to find support off of this 20-day. If we get a close underneath it, then more than likely we get a retest, and then that's going to support price to the downside. And then that's going to increase the likelihood of those other scenarios playing out. But if we do make it all the way down to that 102.5 level, we will be meeting our 50 SMA. It'll probably reach a little bit higher because as this is dropping, this will still be increasing. So maybe it'll reach at like 103.5 or something like that, and maybe we get a bounce off of the 50 because the 50-day is a pretty key level. You can see you get some significant moves off of it to the downside and significant moves to the upside off of it. So maybe that's all we're just doing right now. And we're just going to get a bounce off the 50. And that would also coincide with this downward sloping trend line that we broke out from. Price likes to retest levels that it breaks out from. So we didn't get much of a major retest, as you can see. Oops. We didn't get much of a major retest. So we broke out, we like slightly tapped it, and then we just took off. So maybe that's what price is doing, coming back to really establish and say, okay, we want to get a bounce off of here and then push up higher. But that would be confluence to the upside though. So we do have a lot of support underneath us. Hopefully we don't break and fall underneath. If we continue on down all the way to the mid 90s, then we could be running into the 200-day SMA. And we're still way above our 20-week SMA. Also, if we were to make it to the bottom of that range here, hitting this downward sloping trend line, the 50-day SMA, as well as the 8-week EMA. So that's going to be a lot of support underneath price, and that's going to be tough to break through. So we should ideally be getting a bounce. It would increase the likelihood of getting a bounce there. Overall, though, you can see the volume is kind of just trending sideways. We're not doing too much yet, but I would imagine that's going to kick up once we get a significant move to the upside. We'll start to see some nice candles like that. But when you compare it to what we normally see when we're rallying up, we have literally no volume. On MSTR divided by Bitcoin, trying to make our way back up, kind of just at the bottom of this channel. Hopefully we get our bounce. We have a lot of resistance above our head on the daily. We have the 20 and the 50, but we're still above our 200, which could serve as a level of support. And then we do have a key level of support here on the weekly at the 20. The 20 is right underneath price, and that's holding it up temporarily. So we'll see where things go from here. I want to see a move to the top of this channel, and that would give us a nice spike on MSTR. And our move on the dollar seems like it's playing out pretty well. Just waiting for that to have some kind of effect on Bitcoin, have an effect on global liquidity, which will have an effect on Bitcoin. It's a delayed process with all of this stuff. But you can see we have broken underneath this level. And now we should be getting a close within the next hour and 40 minutes. So closing below 97.5 would be key, because now we're closing within that range that we were speaking of. And if we close there, that's going to open up the likelihood of retesting it, retesting this zone and trend line, and pushing on down further. Now when you look to the left, there's not too much traffic, pretty clean move all the way down to 95.9 all the way to 95.4. And then we're going to have some resistance there, or I'm sorry, a support there for some kind of bounce on the dollar. Right now it's looking pretty bearish. When you have these significant moves to the downside, that's when you have your spikes on Bitcoin. So here on the US 10-year, you can see, depending on how you draw it, it could be bullish or it could be bearish. You can say you're establishing higher highs and higher lows, which is also true. But at the same time, you can also say that we have a bearish trend being established. So you have both going on, honestly, because the bearishness could be part of a bull flag, which we definitely don't want to see. But that could be, obviously it's not going that high, but you get my idea, that this could be a bullish sign, or we're going up, we're cooling off to continue up higher. But at the same time, right here on this time frame, on this area, it's starting to become bearish, but we are starting to compress to the upside. And the more you retest something, the more likely you are to break out. So hopefully we don't, but we could potentially break out of this channel, retest, and then go up higher, which would be bearish for Bitcoin. We want to see this get a bounce off of this top of the channel, and fall down here, maybe chop a little bit and then make it to the bottom of the channel, and eventually become a large topping pattern where it's some kind of, double top or something, where we get something along the lines of this right here. That's what we want to see, and that would be bullish for Bitcoin. When you have a large drop on the 10-year, that'll be bullish for risk assets like Bitcoin and any kind of crypto or any kind of stock. So that's what we're hoping that we can see here. But we do have support underneath the 20-month, which is a very, very strong level. But if we do lose it, then I could see us potentially falling to the bottom of this channel. And on the weekly, we have support underneath price as well. We have the 20 and the 50 supporting price. And on the daily, we have, it looks like we might close underneath the 50 and then potentially make our way down to the 200. That's kind of what I'm seeing here on the 10-year. So when we look at the 2-year, you can see the correlation a little bit better. As this has a fall off, you can see that Bitcoin had a nice rally up. As the 2-year had a large move up, Bitcoin had a large move down. And as we've kind of been trending sideways and downward, you can see we kind of have like a channel being established here. Something like that. Something along these lines, right? You can see something like that, trending downward. You get the idea. As this is trending downward, we've had a nice move to the upside. So for the most part, they are inversely correlated. You see it better on the 2-year than on the 10-year. So if we were to get a continued trend downward, I would imagine that that would allow Bitcoin to, and on all risk assets, to continue rallying up higher for higher levels for the rest of 2025 until we get some kind of economic data that spooks the market and changes the direction. Overall, I remain bullish on MSTR and Bitcoin throughout 2025 unless we get some kind of economic data that spooks the markets. I think we're just building up momentum to the upside. We're compressing, and I think this is just a bull flag playing out within a larger bull flag, and this is just kind of us chopping sideways within this entire flag pattern. And I think things should be looking good for the time being. We'll see how it plays out. I could be completely wrong. None of this is financial advice, of course. Make sure you guys like and subscribe on this video. Share with a friend. I'll see you guys in the next one.